Have you ever wondered what a quiet day in the backyard of his house could turn this into a scene of pure adrenaline? Think of it, in a joint family, taking advantage of his moment of rest, when all of a sudden everything was changing in an unexpected way. It may seem like a scene from the film, but it's stories like this that happen in the real world, and that makes it even all the more surprising is the courage of the hero of the four-legged. Have you ever gone through a situation in which you have to take action instinctively, without thinking twice? So sometimes, our pets are showing a bravery that is beyond our imaginations, risking everything to protect who they love each other. And what you are going to find out now, you will be surprised. Even the animals are the most docile, and his companions can become true warriors in the face of a real threat. In the scenario that we are going to tell you happened on an ordinary day, a sunny morning, when the family was gathered in the backyard and enjoy the beautiful weather, and talking quietly. At that moment, a quiet movement has called attention to it, a presence that seemed out of place. Jaguar animal, wild and dangerous, and approached him quietly, like a shadow that sneaks out into the darkness. The watchful eye, your body is tense, and she moved with the precision of a predator, ready to attack. At this moment, the whole feeling of safety vanished, leaving no room for fear and worry. But in the midst of all the tension, something unexpected happened. A dog that seemed to be the only pet in the joint, and took an attitude like that is going to change everything. In no order, and without thinking about the consequences, he decided to put it in the line of fire, as if he knew exactly what to do to protect their owner. This story is more than just a story of courage. That is a true example of loyalty in dog, which leads us to reflect on the love and dedication they have for their humans. Stay with me till the end because this story is only just beginning, and that what comes next will leave you speechless. Get ready to immerse yourself in an adventure full of gallantry and excitement to a lesson that sometimes love can be stronger than fear. And you, would you be willing to do the same for your family? The answer is right there, in the courage of a hero in an unexpected way. It's going to show it at the right time, and our pets could become a true guardian angel. If you identify with this, if you felt moved by this connection as so pure, human to human, and their four-legged friends, please leave it here in the comments, what you touched, or the experience that you have lived with your very own animal kingdom. Sharing these stories is one way to strengthen our community, and to show that we are not alone in this journey of love and hope. In addition, if the content resonated with you, don't forget to like the video. It helps others to spread this message, and makes it so that more people can be inspired for the value of your furry friends. And of course, if you want to continue with stories like this, subscribe to the channel. Here, we bring stories of the exciting that cause us to reflect and to believe in the power of love and courage. Your participation is essential for this space to grow and to reach more people, bringing hope and inspiration to every person who needs to hear that. Even in the most difficult times, love always finds a way to rise and shine. Right now, we're going to move forward because it still has a lot to prove. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is when the transformation begins to show the truth. Many of the times, we believe that the courage or strength are in the grand gestures. It needs the attention of a great deal more effort. But the truth is, it is in the details, daily routines, in the small decisions that we make without realizing it. It is at this point that the day-to-day becomes more complicated, because that challenge our own limits. It requires a change of mentality. It's not always easy to grasp right away, and it is precisely here that the impact of the reflection turns out to be more stronger, because when you understand the true strength comes from within, we begin to see the world with new eyes, to the more attentive to our emotions, the insecurities and all of our dreams, more of the deep. On the other hand, the change of perspective, it also reveals a hidden truth that is too often preferred to ignore. Behind every decision we make, there is a story, a belief that we have from the childhood, a story that has been passed down through the behind the scenes of our lives. And many of these stories, when you are not challenged, they become obstacles to the invisible, which impede our progress. It's as if we loaded up a backpack full of weights, and it is only when you look at the inside, with a courage, a genuine, we are able to understand how these weights are limited. From then on, for the transformation begins to happen, because I'm beginning to understand that the real power lies in the ability to rewrite our history and pick up new words, new ideas and new dreams. And it's this journey of self-discovery isn't easy. It takes a dose of a vulnerability that are often mistaken for weakness. But in fact, it is the most powerful in the whole process, because it is the courage to be vulnerable, which is built to be resilient when we are faced with our own doubts, our own pain, and to accept that we are still in the construction phase. We take a decisive step on the road to real freedom. At this point, we realize that authenticity is the key to real change, because it is only by being true to who you are, in fact, we were able to attract the things that really makes us feel good, what makes sense for our lives. And there you have it. Everything that seemed difficult, this becomes an opportunity to grow, to learn, to connect deeper with something that really doesn't matter. At the same time, this understanding leads us to consider a more wide-ranging review of the decisions that we make on a daily basis. For each choice, as small as it may seem, it has an impact that extends beyond the present moment. After all, what we do today shapes what we will be tomorrow, and it is this connection between the past, present, and future to reveal a powerful truth that we are the authors of our own story, even if at times it may seem that life takes us on paths that are unknown to them. The liberty of rewriting this narrative is, for the most part, the courage to own up to who we really are, to accept our own imperfections, and to be involved in the transformation. It is a continuous process and it requires patience, but it also gives you a sense of purpose is renewed each and every step. For this reason, it is important to recognize that this is a movement for change doesn't happen from one minute to the next, and each and every small victory, every decision is in alignment with our true selves, is like a seed that is to be taken in the future. And then, even in moments of doubt, when everything seems more difficult, to remember that the journey is an everyday one can make all the difference. Because after all, the greatest revelation, it's the inner strength, is something that can be strengthened with practice, self-awareness, and a willingness to move forward, even when the way seems dark. And what then would be the next step on this path of self-transformation, if you don't continue to explore behind the scenes of your own soul, uncovering the layers that we haven't met yet, and revealing that which makes us most human, the most real, and the most free? I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because it understood that the power within is a unique design of daily leads us to reflect about how we make these decisions, however small it may seem, helps to shape the universe built in charge. Each and every choice we make, every thought of what you eat, has a direct influence on our ability to resist the storms, their feelings, and to keep the focus on the learning objectives, and to remain authentic in the face of adversity. It is as if the moment of resistance, every conscious effort to keep calm, or to hope, and to be a key part of the great journey of self-discovery and transformation. And a lot of the time, this journey is not a linear path, but a kind of mosaic, where the most challenging of all the failures, all the doubts, all the losses are just the ones that contribute the most to our development, if we can learn to see them as opportunities for growth. When you delve deeper into the behind the scenes of our soul, we will find a true hidden that very few dare explore. What is the greatest obstacle to the development of the many of the times? It is in us, our limiting beliefs that we have, the stories we tell about ourselves and the world, and it creates a sort of invisible wall between who we really are and who we can become. In these stories, often rooted in childhood, society, or historical experience, will work as a filter that distorts our perception of reality. And when you realize that these filters can be desconstruidos, we can rewrite our story of the mental, we can begin to understand the impact that we have on our own transformation. When it comes to this responsibility, we become mere spectators of our own lives, and we are the authors aware of our upcoming releases. In the process of self-discovery, it is essential to understand that change does not come of the will, the moment, or force of will that goes away with time, but also a deep connection with who we are and what makes us tick. This is where comes the importance of being open-minded, and to question the truths that we have been imposed upon, and to be willing to explore new horizons. This openness creates a built-in space, is able to accommodate the transformation, even in the face of fear or doubt. In practice, this means being aware of the small, daily decisions, actions that appear meaningless, but when they are repeated and reinforced, creating a new life inside of you. It's as if every action was a seed that, with time, blossoms. In a new version of yourself, you will have a stronger, more aware, and more free. During this process, it is common for us to find out about the revelations that make us uncomfortable, because in many of the truths that are hidden from challenging our notions of security and control. These findings, however, are essential in order for us to be able to evolve from the truth. They show that it is still not clear what we need to see to move forward with more clarity. They are like the points of a face that invites us to reconsider our actions, our emotions, and our expectations. As we come to understand the impact of these revelations is larger than we can imagine, we can begin to appreciate the power of self-knowledge as a tool of liberation. After all, the more we get to know our shadow is, the more we can integrate with them in a healthy way, and without which they could control or prevent us from moving forward. This is a process of discovery, in turn, leads to a more in-depth understanding of the real power comes from acceptance. To accept our own faults, our own doubts, and the fears is a crucial step to transform a vulnerability into a source of strength. When we stand on our own limitations, we opened up the space for a transformation of the genuine, which was created for the hospitality. This authenticity is what connects us to our deepest values, and gives us the courage to keep on going even when everything seems to be up in the air. It is a journey of discovery of constance. Each revelation becomes a chance to rewrite our narrative as a way to strengthen the core, and build up a mindset that it does not shake in the face of chaos, but it is in the face of adversity and the motivation to improve. And as you explore such scenes to internal, we see that true freedom is the ability ability to be true to ourselves, to stay true to our truths, built in, even though it is unpleasant or difficult to accept. This freedom is a big achievement and a daily conscious decision to choose the one that's true to each other, rather than being swayed by outside opinion, or by the expectation that it would not make sense to us as genuine. In this sense, it's a journey of self-transformation is a real revolution in the homeland, is a silent revolution that is happening in the privacy of your heart and of your mind. And the more we go in the process, the more you realize that it will never end, because evolution is a constant process and the dance of the eternal between who we are and who we can become. I now want to go more in depth on this topic because understanding the dynamics of the transformation, he challenges us to look beyond the obvious, beyond the surface. We invite you to discover all the components are hidden from our inner selves, the ones that hold the highest revelation of who we truly are and who we can become. This quest for authenticity and the truth is hidden. That is, in fact, it is a journey of liberation, in which each layer is removed, bringing us closer to our true potential. And as we show you these behind the scenes to internal, it is important to remember that this is a journey that requires courage, patience, and a healthy dose of curiosity. After all, it is the greatest change occurs when we are willing to face the unknown in ourselves and embrace everything that we find along the way. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the true essence of this journey of transformation, which is currently in the courage that each and every one of us to explore the most hidden inside of you. Many times, when we are so stuck in our routines, our certainties, and the masks are what we use to look at the world, that we forget that there's a universe of possibilities beyond these limitations are self-imposed. And this is where it comes to the question of a conscious decision to look within, to demystify the belief that we have, many times without even realizing it, and you wonder what you've been taught as the only possible truth. When you immerse yourself in the behind the scenes to internal, you start to realize that change is not something that is foreign to you, something that comes from the outside to the inside, but as a direct response to our choices inside. Every decision, every action, every reflection, what we do in the process of self-discovery is shaping a new mindset, a new outlook on who we are and the impact you can have on the world. This is a change of mentality. It is a real revolution in the silent tomb that happens behind the scenes of our minds, but it is reflected immediately in our behavior, our emotions, and even on the way we face obstacles on a daily basis. And it's fascinating to see how so many of our limitations are, in fact, the product of a narrative. We learn to accept it as true. In this narrative, one that often comes up in the stories of family, past experiences, or in an environment that conditioned to believe that certain things were impossible for us. When you begin to question those stories, to reveal the hidden truths that lie behind them, and we feel a profound effect on our self-worth and our ability to act with autonomy and independence. From that moment on, everything changes. We went to see the opportunities where we could see only obstacles, and to understand that the power to change our reality, that is, above all, in our desire to rewrite our own history. This is a journey of discovery built. It also shows that the transformation did not happen all at one time or another. It is an ongoing process, a kind of development that requires patience, self-discipline, and a constant connection to our higher purpose. Along the way, we've learned that the behind the scenes of the interior is a place of revelation, constance, where each and every insight, every waking moment, takes us closer to our true selves. And to the extent that we are going to unveil the layers within, we realize that our decisions are more in line with who you really are, the values that you want to grow, and the life that we want to build. However, such a change of mind will also bring to the fore a series of revelations, which was uncomfortable, because a lot of times, we come up with the emotions and thoughts that we prefer to hide. That's where the courage to become an ally and essential, because it takes courage to accept that our own shadows, to acknowledge our shortcomings, and to turn what seemed to be impossible to change it. And in doing so, we open up space for a real revolution in the homeland, where self-knowledge is the driver of this evolution, and the authenticity of the result is the most valuable asset in the process. And in that moment, it was clear that this journey is not only about achieving goals outside, but above all, for the transformation of the interior, for the construction of a mentality that is resilient, positive, and able to provide a lasting change. With each step taken in the way, it reveals a new layer, a new opportunity of growth, and to increase our understanding of the impact of all of this is much more than we do ourselves. After all, in turn, is also impactamus the world around them, creating a chain of influence that they can inspire others to also look at his scenes, built with a spirit of courage and of hope. And it is precisely this connection between our inner journey and the impact of the outside world is a world of difference, because it shows that a true transformation happens when we get together, the one that is inside with it, we can manifest it in the world. And so we went ahead with the assurance that each and every revelation, every conscious decision, it leads us to the next level of authenticity and performance. And at this point, the truth and hide it so much we begin to reveal itself in a clearer way. You light up the next step in this journey of self-discovery and impact. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation happens when we begin to understand the behind the scenes of your own mind and to those internal processes that often operate in silence, but it has a huge impact on our decision-making and emotion. Have you ever stopped to think about that a big part of what limits us or urges us on is deeply rooted in the standards, which may not always perceive it? These standards often serve as reminders of invisible the experiences of the past, beliefs that have been strengthened over the course of the year, or for the small choices that, added together, they've created a kind of writing inside that we follow without question. And it is precisely at this point that comes to the importance of the mind and more aware of an eye that allows us to discover that the roots are hidden. A journey of self-discovery is not a straight line, it's a patchwork of discoveries and insights that often come in places we would rather avoid. But it's the comparison we hold these truths to build that started to open up the space for transformation to true. Have you ever noticed that some behaviors seem to be an automatic, almost as if it were a reply schedule, even when we want to act in a way that is different? This is because deep down, we are caught up in a kind of a script in mind that it was written and rewritten over time, often to our own self-awareness. For this reason, and to understand the impact of these decisions, the unconscious is the key. They shape our impact on the world, in our daily lives, in our relationships with the people around you, and what is more, they define how we move forward on our journey of growth. The revelations that have emerged in the process of self-discovery are the keys that open the doors to new possibilities and a wider range. True, at this stage, we realize that change is not something that happens in an hour or so to the other one, but with a solid construction, made up of little deeds, the more informed choices, and have a renewed courage to face up to what he was invisible, and along the way, come up with insights that seem to change our whole view of the world, as if a curtain was lifted up, exposing the truths that were hidden in the shadows of our feelings and thoughts. In these moments of clarity, we invite you to reflect on the real impact of our daily decisions, our priorities are, and what we really want in our life. It is an exercise in courage, honesty with oneself, which often requires us to face our own shadows, and with a look of pity. When you take one of these steps, we can begin to understand that the transformation is not a one-off event, but a process for continuous alignment between who we are and who we want to be. Every discovery, every revelation, it works like a catalyst that strengthens our resolve to keep going, to not let the old standards on the track or in the limit. And it is precisely at this moment that is the real freedom begins to emerge, the freedom to be themselves, to make the consciousness of a positive impact on our history. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this topic, because of the understanding of these truths that are hidden from many of the times, it also reveals the impact that they have on our ability to create a new reality, and its impact extends far beyond what we can imagine, and reaching out to our deepest emotions, our choices are the most crucial. But before we move on, I want to invite you to think about one word that sums up the whole of this journey of discovery and change: resilience. He comments that resilience, or simply type in a word for you, it is evident that the process of change and discovery. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, as it's the very essence of the transformation is not just on the surface of the stalk, or the results to be visible, but is rooted in the invisible support of this change. And these roots are often attached to our way of thinking, our deeply held beliefs, and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, and what we are capable of winning. This is a journey of self-discovery reveals the true, hidden. It is the greatest battle is going on inside of us, in our way of looking at the world and interpret them in our own experiences. When you begin to keep a close eye on our daily decisions, we realize that many of them are shaped by a system of beliefs that are not always aware of it. It is as if we were in a kind of mental filter that directs our actions, often in an automated manner, without knowing the impact that this has on the way. These patterns of thought that can be either positive, or both, serve as a kind of internal compass, guiding them to what we believe to be possible, or impossible to make. And that is exactly what the impact will become deep because of the change in mindset that has the power to completely transform our way, opening up the doors of it before seemed to be closed, and eliminating the blockages that prevent us from moving forward. However, this transformation does not happen overnight. It takes courage to challenge those beliefs, to question the stories that we have heard or what we have for ourselves, and above all, taking the step to believe in something else. Many of the times, we are faced with resistance, the voice that urges us to keep in your comfort zone, even though it is limited. It is a battle to be silent, almost invisible, but it has a huge impact on our ability to progress. This resistance is, in fact, it is one of the biggest revelations in this process. She shows us how well we are stuck in a system of thought, which very often, you don't even realize. And here comes the importance of developing a growth mindset, believe that we are able to evolve and to learn from our mistakes, and how to transform your limitations into opportunities for growth. This change in perspective is one of the most powerful tools that we can use in our way because it gives us the freedom to experiment, to make mistakes, start over, without the fear of failure. And when you do that, you start to realize the impact of our decision-making is a much more in-depth than we might have previously thought. Every choice, every action, however small it may seem, it is an opportunity to strengthen the mind and to consolidate a stronger, more aware and more in tune with what you really want. In practice, this means being aware of our emotions and our behavior patterns. After all, a lot of times, these are the signs clear to you that we are still stuck in the old ways, or a limiting belief. When we are able to identify these signs and to work with them in a conscious way, we will give you a decisive step on the road to freedom, emotional and authentic. It is a kind of journey of self-discovery, continuous, and where each of the insights revealed in, you can move forward with more clarity and confidence. And that clearly is what makes all the difference, because it allows us to see beyond the surface to understand the true motivations behind our actions. The connection between the transformation of the internal and external impact is direct. The more we strengthen our minds, the more we can have a positive impact on the people around us to create a long-lasting impact and open up pathways that before seemed to be unattainable. This is a journey of change. That is, in fact, it is a transformation from the inside to the outside, where each step taken in the direction of a new vision of yourself in the echo in the outside world, creating a chain of effects. Many of the times we can't even predict it. It's as if you're unraveling a secret of the old, that the real power of change lies in our ability to adjust our way of thinking and renew our own stories of domestic, and to open up the space for new possibilities. And when you think about all of this, it is clear that this journey of transformation is about having the courage, dedication, and a generous serving of autocompaxeo. After all, far-reaching changes are never easy or linear. It involves many ups and downs, moments of doubt and hope. Yet, it is precisely during this time that we find the strength we hold within us, a power that is too often it is hidden away under layers of fear, self-doubt, or skepticism. When we get to it, everything changes. The way we see the world and to relate to, and you decide to pass on to reflect a new reality, a fact that is born out of the recognition that we are able to reinvent ourselves each and every day. And it is this ability to reinvent itself, in turn builds on our strengths, creating a virtuous spiral that feeds on a journey of transformation. Every challenge, every obstacle is overcome, and reinforces our confidence that we can do. In addition to that, we can create a reality in alignment with our dreams in the most profound, and in the process, and the truth hidden when she said that, all of the large impact it begins with an internal decision, and a change of mindset, which in turn gives rise to a number of specific actions that change lives, including your own. So it is important to understand that this journey is not just about conquering the results to be visible, but it's about building a new way of being, of thinking and of acting, which enables us to live with authenticity, courage, and purpose. And so with each step taken in the direction of such a mindset, it is a seed that we plant for the future, more self-aware, more full, more real. He comments that transformation, or write a word that means to you, this is a movement of change in its internal structure, which in the end he reveals the true essence of an impact we can have on the world. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the journey of transformation is not only changing the surface or of the membership of the new and fun to be around. It is so much more than that. It is a real revolution in the home that challenges our beliefs, deeply rooted, and it leads us to question everything we thought we knew about ourselves. It's quiet, often in the moments of solitude and reflection, reveals the truth hidden, they often prefer to ignore. We are the only ones accountable for the impact they've made on the world, and most importantly, by the direction our life is taking. When you immerse yourself in the reflection, you start to realize that the decisions we make every day are not the only choices are spot on, but the manifestations of a mindset that we have built up over time. Every thought, every feeling, what you eat, shapes our reality in a way that is sometimes overlooked. And here's the big secret. The transformation begins in our mind, in our ability to see beyond the obvious, and to break down what we have as limited. It takes courage to face up to the truths within, even of those who are unattractive, or who would prefer to hide it. After all, the only way we were able to open up the space for new understanding, a new version of ourselves that we are in alignment with what we truly want in our life. In the process of self-discovery, many of the revelations come behind the scenes of your own mind. We found that the resistance that we feel the change is, in fact, it is a reflection of a comfort zone that prevents us from moving forward. In this area, although it may seem safe, it is in fact a prison, an invisible boundary that restricts our growth. And it is precisely in the place where it all began to change. To recognize those parts built in, you can open the door to your freedom to be who we truly are without the masks and limitations self-imposed. This is freedom, in its its turn, has a direct impact on the quality of our journey because he starts to affect not only our decision, but also for the way in which we relate to the world around us. To tap into this deeper level of our minds, we realize that the truth is hidden. It is often dodged. It is our best ally. After all, how much more will we face our shadows, built in, the more clarity we have about the steps you must take? It's as if you're unraveling a secret map, where each revelation leads to a more authentic to ourselves, one that is living, that is aligned with your values, your dreams, and your essence is pure. At this point, the transformation is no longer a difficult task, and it becomes a journey of discovery continued on an adventure that takes you to places you never imagined to reach you. And all of this takes place, many times, in silence, almost in a whisper inside that invites us to develop. It is the impact of our way of thinking and in action. It's shaping up to not only our thoughts but also our emotions, our actions, and as a result of the impact that we leave on the world. When we allow ourselves to go beyond the surface and immerse yourself in the truth that is hidden, you start to realize that our greatest strength lies in the originality. And it is this force. Once awoken, you have the power to change lives, including your own. After all, it is the true. The change is not because of the intensity of an action in the moment, but the consistency of a new way of being, thinking, and have an impact. For this reason, this is a journey of self-discovery, is a bridge that connects the past and the future. With which we were at it, we can make it. Every obstacle, every doubt, every fear that you face is an opportunity in disguise for growth, a chance to strengthen our minds, and to reaffirm our commitment to living a life more fully and consciously. And at the same time, we see that the transformation is not a final destination, but the road continues to evolve. The more you move, the more we understand that the behind the scenes of our minds hold the key to unlocking all the potential that exists within us, just waiting to be awakened. And thus are the secrets that had been hidden in the shadows of our own insecurities will be addressed to only a few, such as the fact that we finally found our way. This finding leads us to go ahead with more courage and determination, knowing that every step, however small it may seem, it is a direct contribution to the impact that we want to make it in the world. And if you think about all of this, it is clear that the real transformation happens when you decide to take control of our story with a conscience and a genuine desire to improve, because at the end of the day, we are the authors of our own impact, and each and every decision that we make, it writes a new page in the journey of self-discovery and freedom. He writes that the truth hidden. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth hides behind all this journey of transformation, which very often we are caught up in a web of invisible from the limiting beliefs that have been planted in the course of time, almost like a deep-rooted that it will hinder their growth. These roots do not appear on the surface, but they also influence each and every choice, every reaction, every thought we have. And to really make a change, you need to understand that our mindset is a key piece in the jigsaw puzzle. It acts as a filter through which all of what we live goes on, shaping our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. When you have this mentality, you are full of doubts, fears, and old patterns. It all becomes all the more difficult. It's as if you were driving a car with the brakes and pulled, trying to move forward, but without being able to keep up with the speed that you want. And that's what's important, to challenge those beliefs and to question the truths that we have been taught without actually questioning-emos. Many of these truths are, in fact, the stories that we learned in childhood, adolescence, or even in times of crisis, who are absolute truths in our mind without notice. In these narratives, built to create a kind of script auto, which often prevents us from moving forward to explore new possibilities and embrace the change. The revolution that is when we begin to break down these patterns and to look at them with an attitude of curiosity and courage. It is like a journey to the authenticity, where each layer of self-deception that is to be removed, revealing who you really are, in addition to the masks you'll carry for years to come. When you do this movement of self-knowledge in depth, we come to understand that our power is not in the perfection or in the absence of trouble, but in the ability to reinvent ourselves each and every challenge that you face. Every decision that we make, it is a good opportunity to reaffirm that the new narrative, one that is to create a positive impact not only our lives but those around us. And that's when the transformation is no longer something foreign, a change in the surface, and it turns out to be a genuine internal revolution, and where the mind is open to new possibilities, and the soul is connected with the fact that, very often, it is hidden from the noise of everyday life. In addition to that, we were able to see, on the surface there is a layer of impact to what is often not realized immediately. Each and every choice that we make reverberates in our history, and influence not only our results but also the way we see ourselves and how others perceive us. This connection between the decisions and the impact of that is what really shapes our history. But how much more aware we are of this relationship, the greater will be our ability to create lasting change. And that change begins with the courage to face your own truth, and to face the fears on the trail behind, and embrace the potential of living a life more aligned aligned with who you really are. Once you understand this dynamic, it becomes clear that the journey of transformation is not a linear path, not a magic bullet. It is a process of self-discovery, continuous, where each step reveals a new layer of possibilities and hidden truths. And along the way, we realize that the biggest impact is on the decision-making every day to be the protagonists of our own story. Don't let fear or doubt in the master, but rather to act with purpose and authenticity. It is a journey of courage, constant learning, and in which each and every one of us has the power to rewrite the script, to create a narrative that reflects truly the essence of who we truly are, without masks, without the limitations imposed upon it by the world, or ourselves. And as I reflect back on all of this, you realize that it's the true transformation happens when we are freed from these shackles, invisible, when we have made the decision to take control of our history, with responsibility and self-esteem. After all, it is the journey of self-discovery, is one of the most powerful tools for the impact that you can use to live a life of purpose, freedom, a genuine and deep connection with our inner selves. And in the process, we found that the major revelations that are concealed between the lines of our own soul, ready to be revealed at just the right time. He comments that the truth hidden. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation happens when we can't see beyond the surface, beyond the emotions to the surface, which is often in the rule. It is at this point that we begin to realize that all the things that we believe to be the truth, it may, in fact, be filtered with a narrative of what we have learned in the course of life, and it often keeps us from seeing who we really are. A journey of self-discovery that is not the only one searching for answers, and it's an assault on our very essence, to a scuba diving on the sidelines of the mind and of the heart, where the revelations of the most influential wait silently for discovery. When we begin to question our own beliefs, to make room for the doubt is healthy. We've noticed that many of the decisions we make are based on limitations in the standards, the legacy that it does not always reflect who you really are or who we want to be. And then there is a kind of wake-up, and a chance to rewrite that history, the interior, and create a new narrative based on the truth, the more pure our very essence, the one in the core, which is never lost even when the storms of life, they tried to steer us away from the path. The truth that is hidden, that is, many times we are far from understanding, begin to see the light at the very time when we pause to listen to the silence it has to reveal to us. In this silence, one that is often avoided for fear of seeing what you really feel, it's a gateway to self-discovery and deep. It is here that we find the questions that you've never done, and the answers that were always within us, hidden under layers of denial, fear, and uncertainty. It is a day of revelations, but also to release it, because when faced with this truth within, we understand our greatest strength lies in your authenticity, and the courage to be who you truly are, without masks or outside expectations. And when we do that, we can begin to understand the influence that our decisions have on our lives, in our daily lives, the impact that we make on the world around us. Transformation, then, is no longer something foreign, is now a built-in, a change in attitude, which is reflected in every action, every choice. It is as if, to unravel those behind the scenes to internal, get clear about your purpose, about what is really important to us, and what we can let go of to live in alignment with, the more you connect with the truth. This is a journey of self-discovery that is not linear or easy, but it is one of the most valuable that you can do it, because it challenges us to confront our shadows, our deepest fears, so that we can finally, the emergence of a more free, more aware and more present in your own life. And in the process, we realize that the truth is hidden. It is not something far away or out of reach. It's right there, at our fingertips, ready to unfold to the extent that we make room for it. It's a matter of willingness, courage, and patience to listen to what our inner being do you have to say. Because at the end of the day, all of this is the quest for self-discovery. It's a journey of transformation that leads us to understand that the greatest revelation of all, it's our very essence, the one who's always been there, waiting for the right moment to show itself. And when the truth finally comes to light, everything around you starts to win with a whole new meaning, in a more profound impact, and a connection as real with who we really are. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this topic. If you've come this far, it's because I have been interested in this journey of self-discovery and transformation, and this is a big step. We encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Here we try to bring you content that you have made a difference, that help us to reflect and come to understand a little more about who we are. In fact, what has been shared so far is only a small part of the process, which may lead you to a life more aligned with your values and desires. If you feel that this message was for you, leave a comment saying, "I'm with you till the end," or something to show that you are a reflection. It came to you. This helps to create a stronger connection for you here, and it encourages us to continue bringing you the issues that make sense for those who are with them. Oh, and if you enjoyed the content, a like on the video as well makes all the difference, because it is a way of showing that his ideas made sense, and that it is worth carrying on to exploring this topic together. And of course, here is a hint. There's a video right here on the side that complements documents all of this, talking about how to implement the changes we want to see in our own lives. Click there, and still am there. It's because it still has a lot of nice thing for us to find and dig deeper. Thank you for being with me until now, and until the next video.